Please note that the content of this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional regarding any medical concerns or conditions. The views and opinions expressed by our guests and hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of MSAD or Critical Mental Health. Patrick Graham is of the Christian faith and an ordained minister in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Thank you for listening.
Listen, we're just asking everyone to please subscribe. Subscribe here on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, follow us, MSAD, Managing Stress, Anxiety, and Depression. Hang on with us just a little while.
Welcome to Managing Stress, Anxiety, and Depression, the MSAD podcast, a production of Critical Mental Health. You're listening to Patrick Graham, who specializes in trauma healing and expresses a love for mental health management. Join us as we explore expert interviews, personal testimonials, and evidence-based discussions that empower you to take control of your mental health journey. Whether you're experiencing challenges with cognitive health or simply passionate about mental wellness, there's something here for everyone. Let's get started.
Hi, everybody. We're just grateful that you could join us tonight. This is MSAD, Managing Stress, Anxiety, and Depression. And one of the things that I've decided to do is to start a podcast on just those conversations, telling stories, just talking back and forth with those who have been through it, managing it. And so tonight I'm excited. This is episode 3. The first one was with one of my friends, Sherwin. He did an awesome job, Sherwin Claremont. We were talking about amputees. And my second one, we were just having a conversation with my brother and Paul Graham. So now Chrissa is a good friend of mine. We have we've gone through Oakwood together. Our families have grown up gone through New York together. The bottom line is that when you see such a powerful person as she is, the things that she has done in life, I wanted her to share her story. She's always shared her story with me, especially when I've talked about mental health. She just has so much to share. I know we're on here for a 1-hour program, but whatever it is that you can hold on to, if you can share this with someone who's going through some things in their lives, I am asking you now to share this with someone that you love so that there can be an immediate change, knowing that they're not going through whatever they're going through by themselves. I want to take the time now to bring up Chrissa. Here she is. Chrissa,
Hey.
Here we go. We've been talking about this for a while. Matter of fact, when I first decided to do this, I said, matter of fact, you're the first person I texted and said, hey, this is the person who I need to talk with. We've decided no green room notes. We've decided no past conversations that we've had to put this together. So I'm not even running with notes here. Just want to have a conversation about life, how you went through, how you came through, how you've made it over, and how you're managing all together. And so I just wanted to have this conversation with you. Chrissa, how you doing?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good today. Running up and down, but really good today. Thanks for jumping on with us today. And, I followed you for a while. I followed you through the workout progress. I just everything. And I've just seen your life blossom. But then when we had our conversations, you said, hey, Pat, I've been through some things. And if you don't mind, I want to go back to the very beginning. But before that, what I remembered you about is I came in '88. I think you were already there. And all I could remember was seeing you with your crown on, with your crown. That's explain that to me, and then let's back up a little bit when you were a child, and let's go from there.
Okay, well, that was in 89. I was
Right.
Miss UNTF and Miss Oakwood in
Right.
89. So,
That's it.
mm,
That's it.
yep.
I think that's awesome. And those who are with us today, we also have a line that's on 301-969-8375. So if there are any questions that you'd like to ask or a comment, just jump on in. We'll make sure that we'll answer, or just anything that you want to do that can help us out along the way. And then those who want to comment, and if you're on now, just please tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're from. Just tell us who you are and where you're from, and we'll continue from there. So you won that. Can we back up just a little bit?
Sure.
Let's talk about 5, 6, 7 years old. You're here your dad was one of the greatest leaders in the Adventist work that has ever lived. We may talk about him at the end if we can get down to him at the end. But something happened. Something happened. Take us from the very
hmm
beginning. Something happened in your early childhood. What's that?
So, I was actually at the time I was going to Linden Elementary School.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I was
Okay.
going to Linden. I went to Linden first, second, and third grade, if I remember correctly. And of course, the conference office was right around the corner. By the time I started Linden, it had been built right there around the corner on Merrick.
Gotcha.
So um, I would be at the conference office all hours,
That
you
was like
know,
second home.
really and truly between, because dad's office right there in the corner. And so they had a little room that was the library. Never put any books in there, but
Wow.
it was the library.
Right.
If you know where the president's office is, and there was a room at the very end of the hall, that was supposed to be the library.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So it just had some tables and chairs in there. And so mom had me set up in there with the TV, and I had my books and all of that stuff and everything. And we had a security guard at that time. Um, this is before Brother Theodore, for the old heads who remember Brother Theodore being the security
Yeah.
guard at the time. This was before then. This was an outside company.
Oh wow.
And I remember this guy, I think I was like either 7 or 8. And I remember he would be, wandering around and just checking on things. And, me being me, just being a kid,
Gotcha.
pleated skirt, twirling around, doing stuff that girls like to do and what have you, had my dolls, had all that stuff. Anyway, he used to do this weird whistling kind of thing, which of course, I'm a kid, I'm not thinking anything of it.
Right. Right.
And then one day I was in there, and he came in there and he decided it would be a good idea to kiss me in the mouth at that
You're
age.
talking about a grown man.
A grown man.
I got you. Come on, we're here. We're
And
here.
I mean, I smell his terrible smoker's breath. I see his greasy hair.
Wow.
And he said if I ever told anyone, he would kill me. So I never told anybody. I never told my parents. I never said anything about this until the last 12 so years.
Wow.
I never told anybody
Right.
about that. But that's where it all started for me in terms of my depression and everything that has built up from there because I never told them. And then I started enjoying the little treats and things more frequently because I found comfort in food. So
Got you.
I'm definitely an emotional eater, okay?
Okay. 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 So
And so
emotional
that's
eater
where it
can go
started
both
for
ways,
me.
by the way. You could be an emotional
Right. You
eater
could not eat.
and not eat. Right. Right.
Yeah, I used to get mad that I was the one who was
Wait,
eating
the
instead of
other.
not eating. It's like, doggone it.
I hear you. Mm,
So that's where it all started for me in terms of the mental health journey and
gotcha.
everything.
Gotcha.
hmm
Which is understood. Sometimes there are triggers that we have
hmm
here in our in our age group, and
hmm
you look back and you say, where did all this really come from?
Right, right.
Yeah, and you could see you now can go back and say, okay, it started right here. You have
It started there.
a beginning point to where it is, and
Right.
so you looked at you're looking at your weight gain as part of your comfort foods. A part.
Right, the whole
Okay.
cycle of that, and let me just say that
Sure. Sure.
I'm thankful that nothing worse happened, but it was still a violation of a child,
Oh,
you
listen.
know.
Listen.
So I'm
Yep. Let's
so
be
I
clear.
mean, I'm being clear. I'm not minimizing. I know a lot worse has happened to other people, and
Sure.
I can understand. I
Sure.
empathize,
Sure.
and I'm thankful that it wasn't worse for me,
Sure.
but I certainly understand, how things can spiral from these types of
Got it.
situations.
You got it, Chris. Um, trauma is trauma, no matter how you
Hmm.
look at it, right?
Yeah.
So yes, and I want to be sure that those who are listening to you today are not going to say, "Oh, he just kissed you and that's it," or "He just put his mouth on you, that's it."
No, he put his tongue down my throat.
Okay,
He
well,
didn't
here we
just
go.
kiss
He
me.
didn't just kiss you. So there we go. And for you to
Hmm.
even have to remember that in this day, what is it that it would smell like, look like, etc. Like you said, we're not minimizing what has happened. It is the beginning of where this started. Come on, talk to me.
Hmm.
So how was your teens? What was your teens like?
Well, through childhood, I started, getting a little chubby,
Okay.
got teased, uh, you know, then I started wearing glasses, so that was fun too. I was like in third grade, started wearing glasses.
Right.
That was a lot of fun. But then also, I remember being put on diets from that age because I was a little chubby. The pediatrician, I remember being put on diets, having restricted eating,
Wow.
still being kind of chubby because I'm still sneaking treats and food and everything. And of course, I have to say my dad had a great love for the chocolate malted Carvel, and I liked my vanilla soft serve cone with the rainbow sprinkles. And
She didn't just say Carvel. She didn't just say
yes, I
Carvel.
did just say
I
Carvel. I took
remember
it there.
Carvel, the ice cream spot. Yeah.
Right. So, I'm going through my childhood with a very poor image of myself
Okay.
and low self-esteem because I'm the chubby kid here. I'm being teased, I'm on diets. And even at one point when I was and my mother, bless her heart, my parents, they were love, 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 love with my whole entire heart.
Sure. Sure.
But, they were from the greatest generation, born in 1918 and 1922. So the way they dealt with things was a little different than how we deal with things today. So their methods of, you know, trying to help would not be the best methods of trying to
Of
help.
course.
You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course. Of course.
So, um, those are the kind of things that just weighed on my self-esteem and how I felt about myself, just in all aspects. I mean, I could never wear the cute clothes like the other girls. We had to try to find stuff that fit me in the Missy's department. And I was taller
Wow.
and I had bigger feet.
Wow.
So, I'm like not really feeling the best as a child.
Wow.
And that continued on. So we get to our teenage years.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Another thing that really stuck out for me that had probably even a more profound impact on me than that first incident was the summer I was 13 and I was working at the campground in the cafeteria,
Mm-hmm.
serving behind the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if it was something. It might have been, I don't remember if it was during camp meeting or if it was something. Listen, we were up there all the
All the
time. Stuff
time.
was
Right.
always happening.
Third
I was
home.
up there I was
Third.
up there involuntarily most of the time.
With your dad,
But
by the way, with your dad being the president, how many years?
18 and a half.
18 years as president of Northeastern.
Yeah,
Yeah,
until he
gotcha.
decided, I can't, he said, when he felt like he couldn't give it his all anymore, he decided to just, he was like, I can't do for the people what I want to do anymore. My heart isn't quite there. So that's why he resigned.
Wow. Or else he probably would have still been there. I mean, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
mean, he
he,
still would have
he really
continued on.
he would have, he could have.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. So you're behind the line, 13
so.
years old, of
Right, and
at
it's
camp.
and a particular pastor came through the line
Mm-hmm.
with all the audacity in the world and said to me. you know, you are one ugly child.
You tell me you're
Hmm.
kidding.
I am not kidding. So I'm already 13. I already don't feel good about myself. And here's this particular pastor was one of those pastors who kind of thought they were God's gift.
Yeah.
By the way,
I
very
was
arrogant
I was gonna say something,
and
but it's
everything.
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
At any rate, so that just really took me down even further with
Right,
how I
right.
felt about myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you combine that with looking how I felt I looked, then adding that to it. So that just went with me throughout life and through everything I tried to do for myself since then. I mean, breaking free of that particular chain didn't start to happen until I turned 40.
You said 40.
40.
So you're talking about going through,
Into,
if I'm right, Northeastern, going, is Northeastern, do you go to? Pine Forge.
thank you.
Sorry about that. Boy, Pine Forge would, they would string you up in a heartbeat. You mentioned something else. Pine Forge, Oakwood. So we're
Hmm.
talking about 20s.
Hmm.
And you said the breakthrough didn't actually, was it, what word did you use for 40?
Um, that for me, that was like the light,
Yeah,
just
yep,
something flipped. It switched at 40. But I have to tell you, all through those years, through academy,
right.
college, the yo-yo dieting and everything, gaining, losing, all of that, just trying to fit into a mold. I used to read like Vogue, fashion
Yeah,
magazines,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
liked clothes. I liked style.
yeah.
Mom was stylish,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and I never saw myself as that because I wasn't represented there. And it got to the point for me, I had developed disordered eating. I was binging and purging, and that lasted for over a decade for me. Um, but I had to stop reading Vogue and other fashion magazines because it triggered me. It was triggering for me because
Right,
I'm not represented there. They're telling me I'm supposed to be really thin in order to be pretty and in
right,
order to wear pretty clothes,
right,
you know?
right.
So, and not to mention the pressure at home to kind of look a certain way, you know?
Is it a Seventh-day Adventist
So
home? Is it mom and dad? Is it black? Is it African American? Where's the pressure coming from? Where's it coming?
the pressure's from everywhere. It's from everywhere. You look at how society views uh people with larger bodies in general, you know? And you look at the fact that we have to fight to have clothes that we like that look good,
Yep.
and we have to fight for everything. We had to fight to get fitness gear that we could wear
Right.
that looked
Gotcha.
good.
Gotcha.
I mean, fight for everything. And no, I'm not the biggest person,
That's right.
and I've been a lot fitter, and I've seen it from the other side, from both sides. And so all of this really takes a toll on your psyche, it takes a toll. And then, you go through uh, years of binging and purging that messes with your mind, fall into depression, and you don't deal with it
Right.
because you can't talk to your parents about it because
Right.
your parents are very old school
Okay. There we
and
go.
that just doesn't exist.
Right.
You're supposed to pray about these things,
Here we go.
and you pray about these things. And you're like, okay, now what? I prayed about it.
Yep.
Nothing has
Yeah,
changed.
right. Yeah, and that's what they
I need
tell
a
you.
little more
Pray.
than just prayer. Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, I wasn't going to, well, I've never had a close pastoral relationship ever in my life. So I wasn't about to talk to a pastor. I've
Correct.
never been really close to anyone who's been my pastor.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, I have pastor friends, but nobody who is, I've
Who?
been a member of their church. I've
Correct.
never had a close relationship with any of them. So I certainly wasn't going to take that route,
Yep. Yep.
you
So
know.
40 was the time that you was it a breakthrough moment, or you said it was a light moment? It was like
Yeah,
a
just a light a switch flipped on, and it's like. But let me just backtrack a little bit. I
mhm,
never dealt with any of those things. Um, you know, my depression, all of those things. I didn't deal with it at all until my son was 18 months old. And I think I mentioned to you the other day, and that was in 2001. I think I
mhm.
mentioned to you the other day how um, when I went to grad school and the
Yeah.
toll it had that mental that break
Yo, that's crazy. Go
with
ahead, tell
with
that.
my yeah with my GPA being like 3.65. I was doing really well, but I had a massive mental break and could not complete my thesis.
So even up to now, I think we were talking about it. Even up to now, you have
Mhm.
not finished. You haven't finished it. That's right.
Mm-mm, that program, yeah, that program closed, so that program no longer exists.
Existed, right? When you say
Hmm.
depression, just for people who are looking for signs, now that you can look back
Hmm.
at that, well, of course, we see that we see
Pardon me.
focus, of course, right? Because
Hmm.
you get to a point where you just can't focus on certain things anymore. So take me to give me some of the symptoms. What was going on with you for you to say, okay, this is depression?
Not wanting to do anything,
Yeah, okay.
not wanting to do anything, um, being a neat person, having dishes pile up, clothes pile up, staying in bed, barely wanting to eat, or going out and getting the wrong things to eat and eating it all at one time, and then feeling guilty, and then purging it, and then getting back in the bed and just laying there feeling guilty because I just did that and I just wasted money because I just did that and I didn't have the money to waste. Those
Wow.
kinds of things. And then you pull yourself out of it after a while.
Right.
And then, oh, great. An eyelash always picks the most inconvenient time to jump
That's
in your eye.
go ahead. Go ahead.
But it was just that cycle. It
Yeah.
would get better
Yeah.
and then it would get worse. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then all the pressure uh, to keep up with the academics and keep up with the appearances.
Do you feel like even at the age of 40, that you were still considered, I'm going to use my words, you're probably going to hate it or hate me for this, but Adventist royalty, do you feel like you had to show that you were still one of the princesses of Camelot? Do you feel that way? Did you feel that way even at 40?
To be honest with you, I knew who I was. I knew that I needed to behave. Not that I was a
Right,
rebellious
right,
child or
right,
anything,
right.
but and I knew that people put me on a certain pedestal that I never felt like I belonged on or needed to be on.
Gotcha.
I always felt like I was always living up to other people's expectations of how I should be.
Right, right. Wow. So tell me about your son coming in. I know normally a child is born, there's feelings of inadequacy, there's postpartum depression that even follows that. So now you're looking at something that was already happening in the past.
Hmm.
Did you experience any of that during during your child's
I
birth?
wouldn't I wouldn't say I necessarily had postpartum
Okay. Okay.
depression.
Sure.
I had a little bit of the baby blues,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but not like any full-on
Full,
depression because
right.
I was off for 6 weeks and then I had to go back to work with him. Um, and all of that was fine, but I was still dealing with a lot of pressure and stress. And it's like, oh, my parents were like, get a doctorate, get a doctorate. I just had a kid. You got to get a doctorate. You got to go back to school. I just had a kid. I'm trying to, and I'm not feeling the best about myself because now I've got all this extra weight on top of the weight I already had. But you need to do this. But I, but I got to work, and the Dion's in med school, and I got to work, and it was
Right.
like it all came crashing down. and I finally sought help. I wanted a Black Christian woman, but I got a Jewish woman, so that was as good as it got for me.
Did it help? Did it help?
It did help for the time that I was able to do that, but I ended up losing my insurance, and so I could not continue with
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah, because the program I was with, it was a grant-funded program,
Gotcha.
and we changed over to a different department, and that particular department head um, didn't quite see the full value in what we did, and so he screwed up our whole grant thing. So I ended up being keeping a job, but I went contract, so I had no insurance, so I
Insurance
could
after
not
that.
continue. So
Right.
I couldn't keep up with it. But the time I had, I got some invaluable tools, and that's also around the time I really started. Yeah, sick and tired of how I was feeling physically, so I started going to the gym and working out
Yeah.
and training. So that's where it all started there.
Okay.
That was pivotal for my sanity.
I kind of
The
remember.
gym,
I
the
can't say I
gym
remember.
literally became my therapy.
That became your working out became your therapy. Because I could
Hmm.
remember earlier on where it was like, whoa, what's every time you turn around, it was like, and you had no problems in putting in the before and the after pictures. I could remember that because it was like,
Hmm.
okay, who's working out today or who's going to do this today? And it kind of made all of us who was couch potatoes like sit there and was like, now she's really working this thing. I mean, to me, it was before we get to the workout thing though,
Hmm.
not finishing, forget not finishing, not going to med school. I think our parents, my parents, my mom, believe it or not, they wanted me to do medicine.
Hmm.
My dad, I never forget, I didn't want to go to Oakwood. I wanted to do HVAC. I wanted
Hmm.
to fix, he did HVAC, so I wanted to do HVAC, and he was like, no, don't do that, whichever. My mom
There's
wanted
big
to do,
money in that.
y-
We
y-
just bought a new unit.
y-
Shoot,
you're telling me or you're asking me? We just put in a unit here and it was like seven
I'm
grand.
telling you, we ain't gonna talk about it.
Okay. All right. We won't.
Anyway.
We won't. But you can call me past the HVAC. That'd have been beautiful. And then nowadays, I was driving Florida down by your way, and I saw a big um, billboard, and it said, "Your wife is hot." When I was passing, it said, "Your wife is hot." I was looking
Oh
at it, and I
boy.
was like, "Why would they put something?" And it was HVAC. You need to fix the air
Hmm.
condition.
Yep.
So you didn't have any problems. I mean, not going to med school, not finishing, not going to med school. You was like, hey, this is what it
Yep.
is.
Yeah, and how that happened was, I was biology pre-med.
Yep, yep.
But my senior year, that second semester, I was like, I don't want to go. And part of it was my lack of confidence in my abilities and my
Wow.
academics, first, because I felt like, you know, I, 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 s- I mean, math. I'm over analytical when it comes to things like math and what have you. So I do too much and it escapes me a lot
Gotcha,
of time.
gotcha.
And I wasn't, even though I did extremely well in my labs for chemistry, organic
Science is
chemistry,
another.
the theoretical part wasn't, I fought with. And so I didn't feel like I was going to be able to like take the MCAT and pass it and do
Right,
well
right.
and go to med school. So that was a huge thing for me right there. And then, I was just like, I don't want to go. I wanted to just, maybe go to PA school instead,
Right.
because I still wanted to be involved in healthcare.
Sure.
But then my parents were like, no, you have to keep going because I would have had to take a year off and apply the next year. Like, no, you never go back if you don't keep going now. So that's how I wound up
Ah, got
going
you.
to
Got you.
UAB and public health, which of course what I learned there did serve me when for the years that I worked in HIV and AIDS
Yep.
education.
Yep.
That definitely served me. But in my heart, I wasn't where I wanted to be. So yeah, that part, that's my medical school story.
And that's just the way it is. Who
Hmm.
knows where you would have been going to med school and deciding this is not something that you want to do. There's a lot of, I'm going to say kids because I can say like that. There are a lot of kids that go to med school and they're and upset that they have gone. They'd rather have done something else. So you
Oh,
and so
I know some.
oh yeah.
You're
Oh,
right. You're
definitely,
right.
definitely. So, because really and truly, and I can say this now, for me now, it's not about the money. It's not about the prestige
Hmm.
anymore. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm more
Yeah,
about, hey, can I just be happy with who I am? That's where I am.
exactly. Exactly.
So the big workout, come on, the big workout. You got to start working out, and
Hmm.
I mean, not just weight loss, but muscle. You're just
I'm,
building.
yes.
I just thought it was awesome, and I could
Thank
remember
you.
some years back there was a magazine shoot that was done with you, etc. Just you said it was your therapy. How was this?
Hmm.
How was this your therapy?
It was my therapy because I was in control. I was in control of the outcome. I was in control. I wasn't in control of anything else. I was in control of that.
Oh boy,
I was in control of how I wanted to build my body. I was like, these muscles I put here. I mean, obviously, through the Lord giving me the strength and the life and the wherewithal to do it,
right.
but I did it. I did it,
Angela
you
said
know?
yes, her muscles. So don't think we weren't watching. As Angela Foster,
Dang.
she said yes, her muscles.
Angie.
It's true. I mean, and believe it or not, we all followed you. It was a journey that we followed you. Maybe you didn't see that we were following you, but we did. You know, we were not close friends, and tight where I can see a mental health move, but I
Hmm.
knew that there were a lot of women that were following you, and there were a
Hmm.
lot of guys who probably went to school with you because everybody left their comments and whatever and was like, "Yeah, that's Chrissa." Who? Chrissa.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's her. You know what I mean? So I've ended up saying to myself, "Wow, it's amazing." I needed to go to the gym for a longer period of time, but but I surely enjoyed it. So you're talking about control. You're talking
Right.
about control.
It was control.
How often were you going to the gym?
Oh gosh. And let me just say, all the times I posted and everything, it was twofold. One for accountability for myself, and two, to motivate people.
That's right.
It wasn't for vanity because there were some people who tried to you know, suggest or intimate that it was for vain reasons. It wasn't for vain reasons. My thing was like, if I can do this, anybody can do this. It was about discipline, it was about motivation, that's what it was about. But I digress.
No, no, you
Um,
didn't digress. And the reason why I'm telling you, I'm saying, hold that thought really quick as far as how many times you're
mhm,
going in. It's not digression because, I'm using my social media for mental health now. I'm using it
mhm.
for my church. I happen to love my church. Like I said, many of them don't like me, but they at least love me at church, right? I mean, it's just what it is.
Well, I
And
see the food you get,
yeah,
so
yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's amazing. And one day I will tell my story as why I believe God allowed me to go there. And another thing altogether. But Patrick lost his thought. So, this
sorry.
is age coming on here. I should have written that down. I'll come back to
Senior
it.
moment.
It's coming
Welcome to
on.
the club.
Yeah. You were just talking about what were you just talking about? Maybe it'll jog my
Also,
memory.
my reasons for posting the
There we
workouts and
go. Thank you
everything.
so much. You put me right back on track. So what has happened when I've started posting? Now, just to remind you, I've been posting for 10, 11, 12 years since I've been on social media. But it's funny now that as I'm posting now, there are a lot of people who are actually complaining about my posts, right? So it's so really and truly, here I am at 50 something years old, still kind of caring. Let me just be honest with you about what
Mm.
somebody was thinking, or why are you posting about mental health? Why are you posting about church life? Why are you posting about your opinions and stuff? I just got to the point where it's like, well, I can't say what I was just about to say, but Okay, and really, I'm thinking to myself because there's a and I'm throwing little things in there for myself too. There are approval addictions. I had, it was terrible, approval addiction. You want everyone to approve of you. You don't want anybody speaking, saying anything negative about you, your thought process or whatever. I'm really getting over that as a
Mm,
grown man, getting over that. So I don't really care.
yeah.
On my social media, just press unfollow or just decide it's not
Mhm.
what you want to do. Because if one person calls me tonight, even after this, and says, Pat, thanks, or DM me and said, I needed to hear her story, I'm done. I'm happy with it, and I'm grateful for it. So,
Mhm.
when I see people crank out, when I've seen you crank out, go to the gym, take pictures, do this, that, and the other, when I put up food, when I put up this, it's a different life that I was doing that was different for me when I was in the office. Now,
Mhm.
as Kevin Jenkins, I don't know if you remember Kevin Jenkins. Kevin Jenkins would say to me, "Now you're with us now. Now now we're on the ground level together, and you see something different, and I don't mind sharing that." And you're right about
Mhm.
that. Half of the things that I put up online, most of it is for me to stay to the course, stay the course,
Mhm.
because it's
Mhm.
easy. It's easy because when I get a text message that says, "Why did you post that?" Sometimes I don't want to post for the whole week, or sometimes I don't want to
Mhm.
put out there but I'm hurting somebody. I can help somebody else along the way.
Right, right,
I've never looked at
exactly.
any of your stuff as being vain, never did. But like you said, it's motivating, and the other one is accountability for yourself. So I could see that.
Mhm.
So was it daily?
I honestly 5 to 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day, depending on what I was trying to do.
Right, right, right.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, there was a point when I was on the Stairmaster for 90 minutes a day. Okay, maybe not every day, but at least 3 times a week.
but you said it was therapy.
It was
What?
therapy. It was like the sweat, the therapy, the heavy lifting, I mean, listen, I was throwing on 14 45-pound plates to leg press at one point. I don't have to do that anymore because I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I know that I can if I want to.
That's right.
But now, look, the most you're gonna get on me is eight.
No,
Ain't putting no more than eight
I get it.
45s on that thing
I
ever
get it.
again.
I get it. I get it.
That's it.
I get it. I get it.
So it's like there's something that is so gratifying about knowing that you have a certain amount of strength and power, and again, it goes back to something in your life that you control, that you have full, the outcome is wholly up to you, you know?
That's what made the difference for you.
So,
But I
yeah.
like what you said. It was gratifying for you.
Hmm.
And I,
And then you have to remember too that it started getting to the point where I'm training and I'm thoroughly dedicated to what I'm doing, but it got to a point where I was seeing the changes with my parents.
oh boy, here's a flip.
Hmm.
Can we flip real quick?
So you're looking at going all through, after that, my son gaining some weight back, being completely active with him, having my daughter and moving when he just turned 3 and she was 10 weeks old, moving from Nashville to Minneapolis with
Oh,
nobody out there.
wow.
But I still managed to get myself together and still maintain and still do what I needed to do. I mean, I work at the Y up there, which was great for the kids because I
Right,
worked with the children.
right.
So,
So
but
where was your
yeah,
parents during this time?
not Huntsville,
So they've
because
been about.
they moved down there. They moved to Huntsville in '89, my senior year,
Oh
December of
wow.
'89.
Okay, so they
Hmm.
were there. Okay, so you basically lived in Huntsville while at school, while you were at school.
I mean, I was still in the dorm. Well, I was in the annex my
I
senior
remember
year. I
the
was in the
annex.
annex.
I remember the annex in the back, in the back. Only,
Yep.
only,
By the,
only those who they trusted was in the was in the
yep.
annex. I got you. I
Yep.
got you. So Minneapolis. Now you becoming a caregiver. But your
Yeah,
but your parents help me with this because I saw your parents. It's very healthy.
And they were. They were. They walked a lot. You know, they would. I mean, one time they tricked me into walking 10 miles when we lived in New York. We walked up, uh, where did we go? We went to Elmont.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Elmont or was it up Hempstead Turnpike? Whatever it was, they had me walking. I was like, excuse me, can we go?
Can we turn
Right.
back?
But
I
they
just
had
remember
me
them
walking.
fit. I remember them fit driving.
And and you
Um,
know, Dad was an avid golfer.
that's
I
right.
mean, he was one of the founders
The
of the
brothers,
Brothers Golf
the
Tournament,
brothers,
you
the
know.
brothers.
So yeah,
Yeah,
he had all of his. If you don't, sorry, my cat is
yeah.
pulling this tape off of this box.
That's fine.
I don't know
As
what her fascination is
if
with tape.
if mine come
Anyway,
up in here, it's
um,
gonna be a problem. So I get you. I get you. And by the way, animals, pets, I should say, the greatest
hmm
way. What's your
they
pet's name?
are. This is Janie. Janie, get off of that. This is Janie,
Janie.
and I have Jenny, and of course I have my mother-in-law's dog Peanut. So yeah,
So you, it's
yeah.
not a zoo, but you have you have whatever is going to be there to at well, it's supposed to help. So let's hope
It's
that'll.
supposed to help. It's supposed to help, but sometimes, you know,
Hmm.
you wanna,
It
girl, you better not eat that. But sometimes you wanna, you know,
yeah,
they will try you.
yeah.
But anyway,
Nope, that's fine. So you was at the
but
Y, you
yes.
was working at the Y. What brought you back this way? When I say this way, east.
Oh, back from Minnesota, what brought me to Florida? Because when the residency program is finished up there,
Gotcha.
I got to choose where to go, and I said hot.
That's right. That's right. Minneapolis is kind of
And I
I,
love the city. I love Minneapolis. I love St. Paul. It's beautiful, but that cold, oh my gosh, that cold is not like any other cold anywhere.
okay. You know we have to take a quick detour because Minneapolis is where one of my favorite singers are from. My favorite
Yeah,
artist is from.
my favorite artist.
We have fought over that for years. We're not going to fight
Oh,
over the
see
over.
my see my blanket? You see my blanket that I'm sitting on?
Yeah,
You see that?
yeah.
See that?
Yeah. You're better than me.
You
I
see
don't.
that? Look, see,
Yep.
my Prince blanket.
Yeah.
No.
Oh man, and there's a lot of stuff if there's a lot of songs that Prince have put out that a lot of people don't have not heard. Some of
No,
his
they haven't.
instrumentals, some of his live stuff,
Mhm.
some of his studio stuff. I always wanted the
Yeah.
temperament of his,
Mm-hmm.
sort of mysterious. Don't worry about that
Mm-hmm.
cat. Just ripping up that tape.
She
um,
is going to sound on that tape,
tell me
but
your
she's not
song.
admitting it.
Tell me your Prince song that you could think of that motivates you a lot. Give me your top three. That's wrong. I know that's wrong, but give me a top three motivation.
I have a non-exhaustive 72-hour playlist of his, and I would listen to it on my many road trips back and forth to Huntsville.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yes. Um, so asking me to pick out because
Yeah, you're a true fan. So,
okay, there's Purple Rain. Everybody loves Purple Rain. Well, not everybody, but that's one of the top.
yep.
I think one of the coldest love songs ever with the coldest lyrics is Adore.
Yes.
Come on. If God, when
Yes.
they struck me blind, your beauty I still see. Come
Yes. Yeah. Yes,
on.
you're a true fan. You're a true fan. You're a true fan. You're a true fan. You're a
I
true
mean, there's
fan.
just so many others. I mean, I love America.
Yes, me too.
Um,
Me too.
I love Baby I'm a Star.
Yes.
That one, I would shoot. Stairmaster time and shoot.
I got you. No, I got
In
you.
1999
Yeah, yep,
and
1999.
all of that. I mean, and a lot of stuff people haven't heard of and what
Yeah.
have you. That I mean,
Yeah.
North, South, East, West, news, music out. I mean, there's so many,
Was it just hot
so
to
many.
go back to Florida, or was it something about the sun? What was it? I know you said hot, Minneapolis to Florida, to Orlando, Florida.
Right.
W- w-
It was both getting away from the cold because I mean I really couldn't handle the cold anymore, and
Right.
plus I needed more sun in my life.
Yep. I got you.
Hmm.
I got you.
Yeah, and one thing that happens up there is right before we transitioned to Florida is I started gaining weight up there
In Florida.
in
Oh, in
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Okay. Okay.
Right, and we couldn't figure out why, because I was doing everything that I had been doing, my lifestyle, my workout, and everything. Moved to Florida, got a new, I mean, I started antidepressants up there, came to Florida, found another doctor, and we discovered my thyroid was
Thyroid.
underactive. Hmm. Underactive thyroid, and I was also perimenopausal at the time.
Okay. Okay. No. That,
So that all
yeah.
of that, that didn't help with my psyche either,
Mm-hmm.
but I still managed to work my way through it and develop a mindset of, well, I can manage this, I can fix this.
What
And
made
it
you?
took longer and I fixed it.
Let's back up. What got you to antidepressants?
Just feeling it was like the whole definitely the chemical imbalance
Yeah.
there
Yep. Yep.
and having not had therapy in so long,
Okay.
because I had quit and it was like um, I'm still using the tools. I was still working out. Because remember, from my time with therapy was only probably about 5 or 6 months at the most.
Yep.
So my son was like 18, around not quite 18 months old when I started that. So we're talking about toward the end of being in Minnesota. And so by now, we're looking at my daughter was 4.
Right.
So that's several years removed.
Right.
And, everything was just,
Was it
I
a
was feeling,
spiral?
I was feeling the blues again. It wasn't a fast spiral, but it
Right.
was enough
Gotcha.
for me to need some help,
Gotcha.
you know.
Gotcha.
So I tried, we tried a couple of different ones. Um, and for my thyroid, we did, I continued on with that once we moved down here
Right.
and did took some things for my thyroid, but I felt terrible.
Right.
I really did feel terrible.
Right.
I didn't like how I was feeling and what have you. So I took myself off everything cold turkey, went raw for a month. I don't advise that. I do not advise that. So if you're a medical professional, if you're on medication, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do it. It
That's
happened
your
to work for
personal.
me,
Yep.
but that worked for me personally
Yeah.
because I had to get all of that out of my system
Yeah.
in order to try to heal more holistically
Gotcha.
from that. And
Gotcha.
so I started just taking more, kelp, iodine-rich things
Yes.
to help with the thyroid and
Yes.
my training and everything. Eventually got back together.
Yep.
But again, this is where we started really seeing the change in my parents and in my mother that kind of led to the other half of the story.
No. I listen. I got you. I hear you. Um, because really, you're the only one. I know
Hmm.
there's brother. I know there's brother.
Hmm.
But I also understand that, you know, you're now going to take care of them from Florida to Huntsville.
Hmm.
Does that take a whole? Does that take a toll on you?
Hmm. It really did take a toll on me because when I first started noticing I had to really, really sit and think and look back and try to pinpoint when these changes started happening with mom
Right.
in particular. Um, Gradually with dad, he started, having to use a crutch to walk and, eventually, he ended up in a motorized chair, but his mind was fine. It
Right.
was just his body that wasn't cooperative. He had to quit playing golf and everything. But I want to say we're already living in Florida, and I think that I first noticed the change probably a year or two after we were here.
Mm-hmm.
I was noticing, mom was a little bit more forgetful and what have you.
Mm.
And I would go back and visit and do some things, but at that time, it wasn't so bad that I needed to be there all the time. I was going like 4 times a year.
Right.
Then
Right.
it picked up from there.
Yep. Did it stop you from, let's say, working out, doing, going back to your type of therapy? No.
No, let me tell you, it that was my sanity. So I even had a gym membership, a $10 a month gym membership at Planet Fitness there in Madison, because I was like nothing was going to stand in the way of
Yep.
me continuing with my working
Yep.
out.
Yep.
No matter how tired I was or what I had to do, I was going to be there. I had to do it. It was non-negotiable.
I got you.
Um,
Non-negotiable. I
it,
heard you.
it was
I
non-negotiable,
heard you.
and and part of that was me not only dealing with the stressors of everything going on with my parents, because that's a whole nother story right there. I mean, there's so much there that I've never told people, and so much that's involved because I shared stories all the time when I
Yep.
was going through,
Yep.
but it's so much deeper than that. But there was also the guilt because I had to leave my kids. I had to miss school activities. I had to miss certain milestones because I had to go to Huntsville. So I was either driving or flying back and forth more and more. I missed their holiday concerts or maybe the spring concert or festivals or things of that nature. And I hated it. Couldn't go on a lot of field trips. I was probably one of the least involved parents, even though that wasn't my intent.
Right.
So part of that was, not only dealing with my mental health, it was also dealing with that new guilt that
And
I
your
had
guilt.
for having to be away from some
Children.
pivotal moments with my kids,
Yeah.
you know?
Wow. It's just
So
added.
that's
It's
that's
just,
that's being this that's what being the sandwich generation is about.
that's amazing. And yet, Chris, so we could look at you. That we all know social media doesn't mean anything. But I know you could do whatever you want on social media, and people would be like, "Oh, they're having a great." I could never see that. Even looking at you at Pelk and graduations and Pine Forge stuff. I remember you used to travel back and forth, Pine Forge, Philadelphia. One of your best friends lived out here, or you traveled out here. You look great. You're saying to me, it doesn't matter how you look on the outside. There's something happening. There's something
Hmm.
happening, and here you're dealing with not only maintaining or managing your mental health, but you're dealing with the caregiving side of it, and then you have to deal with the guilt side of it,
Right.
spending of
And
time.
and let me tell you something about Pell. I enjoy coming to Pell. It's so uplifting. So I mean, the highest of spiritual highs you can get at Pell. And I chose that particular time of year to check on my parents and what have you because of Pell.
Yes,
Because
yes,
Pell gave me the outlet that I needed.
yes,
It helped me cope. It fills my spirit,
yes,
you know,
yeah,
because I'm dealing with this heavy, heavy thing over here,
mm-hmm,
you know,
mm-hmm.
and and Pell just gave me what I needed to be able to cope with that, in a much better way. That once a year major infusion.
Yep, yep. But I do get it. I called Jesse Wilson and I said to him, I'm going to put out you know, an opinion, an op-ed on why I hate Pelk.
Mhm.
But of course, it's the opposite way around. Going to Pelk, I get it. It was almost like a gigantic camp meeting,
Mhm.
but but for us to let down our literal here with God. It's not just
Mhm.
meeting everybody, but you could sit back and cry if you want because your members aren't there to see
Mhm.
you cry over this or
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
I really do believe that Pelk is a good thing for us. It's a good thing for
It
us.
is, and even for me, I'm not in any way involved in ministry or
Right.
anything like that.
Correct.
But it's like because of Dad, everybody
Yep.
hey knew me, and of
Yeah.
course,
Yep.
early on, Mom and Dad would still go out to the cult meetings. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
and
don't. You telling me?
Dad would
He used to
remember
have his
me.
car,
He saw
his
this
scooter.
and Mom would be shuffling along and what have you. And so they did that. And eventually they couldn't do it anymore, but I would still come because I was looking after them
Right.
and taking
Right.
care of them
Right.
and still I mean like and I even came the last time I was there for talk was 2019 because that was part of me um, getting some closure.
When did they pass?
March 23rd and March 25th of 2018.
2018.
So
I
I
remember
went
well
to
enough.
alumni weekend of 2019, but I didn't go to church or anything. I only went up on campus on that Sunday.
Wow.
And then that December, I felt like I had to go to Pell. And plus, I was still trying to tie up things with their house and
Right.
get stuff. It took me a
Right.
long time to empty that house.
Yeah.
So that was part of it too. So I chose to go during times when people would be there,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
What about your mental health dealing with guilt? Do you think that you quickly got over it, or you still have remnants of that?
Still
Okay.
have it because I know I missed a lot. But at the same time, I do not feel guilty for how I was with my parents. So I know that I did the best for them.
Yes.
I know that I took care of them the best that I could,
Yes.
even though I know there were people who had things to say about me because um, I had one family member say they had to just about cut somebody out. It's like, well, she's never up here. I never see her. She's not. I was there almost more than I was home, but people never saw me,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and you know, and people who did see me or the few people who I would let know I was there, that didn't really matter too much,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, whenever I was there, even when I had to stay away from my parents, because it got to the point where I couldn't stay at the house because mom and her son downing and she would flip on the lights and I was not getting any rest.
Any sleep? Right. Right.
So I would have to lock them in at night and go close by to a hotel and get my
Right.
sleep and everything.
Right.
But and if I went out, if I went to church or whatever, if I decided to, I didn't always, but if I decided to, I'd just go to church and go back to
Mm-hmm.
the house. People say hi, that's it. So
Mm-hmm.
nobody was really trying to really, I don't know, do anything much with me
Right.
when
And
I would come to
did you
Huntsville.
feel
So I just never
isolated?
really told me.
Did you?
Yes,
That's the word. Isolated.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Wow.
So that's part of
I,
the reason I
I,
never really said much to people about when I went there. But
you know,
but everybody has their life, so I don't fault people.
no, and I get it. You know, there's one thing about you that probably a lot of people don't know is that you are a an introvert.
Yes.
It, and a lot of people, believe it or not, I am too. I know that sounds crazy, but you cannot explain to anyone. But I know that you're an introvert. You know, when depression is something we battle, sometimes we call it management. That's why
Mhm.
I call this thing managing because you
Mhm.
never really, it's never really gone.
Right.
It's how we kind of deal with it, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Dad's house got sold. I remember that. Um, I still have uh, momentums. Is that what you call it? I still have I, I I still have souvenirs from his house. His books, some of his books. I have
Mhm.
I have the Northeastern from the 70s. I have the, Northeastern used to make these spiral books of all the
Yeah, the
pastors. And
directory,
yep, I
the
have a bunch.
directory.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
directories, correct. The directories.
Did I
I'm
give
not,
you those directories?
I'm not, yeah,
Did I give? Did I give?
yeah.
I give? Okay.
I remember, I think I came and got them in Orlando, not in
Yeah, I
Huntsville. I
brought
came
it
and
to
got them in
Orlando. Yeah,
Orlando because
yeah, yeah.
I was always there. And one of the reasons why I was there because of the sun. My daughter was there, but the
Mhm.
sun just comes up different there. What
Mhm.
There are two things, and I know that I told you that this is an hour type thing, but there are two things that I wanted you to help others with. One is, and it could be a fast answer, it's fine. Somewhere around there, you found out you were adopted.
Mhm.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Well, I knew for years.
Oh, okay, okay,
I knew
okay,
since childhood.
okay. Because I could
I
remember.
mean, they didn't. My parents didn't tell me, but I stumbled across the information.
Sure, sure. Did that do anything for you or to you when it came to mental health, or it didn't? Nothing.
I will say that there's an innate feeling that I think most adoptees have of feeling like something's missing.
Okay,
You know,
okay,
there's a part of them that's missing. You can't quite put your finger on it. And that was the feeling that I had,
okay,
you know.
okay.
It's like, and then even though I had a wonderful, cousins and all the
Sure.
wonderful, people and
Yep.
what have you, and uncles and aunts and all of that, I still, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm an introvert, but
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like a little bit of an outsider, like not quite, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And no, I'm not the only member of my family who was adopted. I have other cousins who were adopted too, but that was just my experience,
Right.
how I felt.
Right. Wow. I know that's over here. I watch your children. I watch what you do for them. Can we go to March real quick? Can we go back to March real quick? I know where I was.
Hello.
If you don't want to, it's
Sure.
fine. It's
Sure.
fine.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, I remember where I was. I was in the conference office, and we got the news. Dad,
Mm,
Dad had passed.
mm.
We would think Jesus was going to come back first before he passed. Could you walk us through that situation? Because could you walk us through that? To
Yeah,
both of
yeah,
them, they always were
yeah,
together.
yeah.
Walk us through that.
So, they had put together a 100th birthday celebration for Dad, and that was in February. Jim's birthday is February 14th,
Right.
and a bunch of people came over to the house and we celebrated. And then after that, Mom had broken her hip in January, so it was her femur actually, so she was still in rehab. So I know you've seen the
Right.
video of
That's
them
right.
and Daddy trying to get a kiss
That's
in
right.
there. And so that was his birthday. And then after that, his birthday celebration, and everything, I came back home. And then 6 weeks later, the beginning of that week, Mom's home health nurse, she's like, um, what was it? No, her nurse had gone away. So there was another nurse there. And Mom was fine when she left. But then when she got back, she called me, was like, if there's anybody who would like to see your mom or whatever, I would suggest they come now because she, wasn't swallowing. She forgot how to swallow and what have you. And I remember I was like, oh, great. So I'm looking for a plane ticket, looking for a ticket. I couldn't find one right then.
Right.
I found one for that Friday, the 23rd. So I'm in the air and I get the message that she passed while I'm in the air, literally on my way there. And I just think that that was God's grace. that I got there after. When I got there, Daddy was in his chair sitting at the table. People were already at the house. Elder Simons, Paula Thompson, Pastor Thompson's wife,
Yeah.
um, and some other people were at the house already, and after Dad. And I got there and sat down, talked to Dad, kissed him on his forehead. That's what I always did, kiss him on his
Mm-hmm.
forehead.
Mm-hmm.
And after a little bit, he said he wanted to go lay down. So he took him back there. And Pacola, amazing, amazing, wonderful caregiver,
Great.
uh, got him ready, got him in his bed and everything. And then after that, my cousin Marvin and I went to the funeral home
Mm-hmm.
after that, because I'd given them permission to take Mom before I got there.
Right.
So they stood in for that. And then after that, Daddy just stayed in bed all weekend. He didn't get up anymore. He didn't want to eat. He didn't want to. I got him to drink some orange juice. People came to see him that Sabbath. And I posted the picture before. He's in the bed, and Elder Bradford is sitting there next to him, talking
Wow.
to him, having the conversation. Elder Bradford got him to laugh, actually. And then, let's see, that was on Sabbath, and some more people came through. Um, Pastor Bird came through,
Mm-hmm.
and Buddy came through
Mm-hmm.
as well. Some of the last people there. And then that Saturday night, I finally went to bed. And then that Sunday morning, um, Nicole was like, she was calling me to come over there to help her get Dad up. But she was like, that's such an urgency. I jumped up. Now, when you reach a certain age, you can't just jump up out the bed.
Yeah. You asking me or you telling me?
I'm telling you, I'm
Okay.
saying,
That's right.
that you can't just jump
Jump up
up
out of
out the
bed.
bed
That's
because you
right.
could hurt yourself.
Yes.
I jumped up and ran all the way around down, all over there, night shirt, everything. And because Daddy was like, well, basically, within the next 20 minutes or so, he was just laying down. We got him, and it was over.
Wow. Just like that.
It was over. And that night I prayed. I said, okay, Lord, Mom is born. We know Daddy waited because that's how he was. He always wanted to make sure she was taken care of first. So he waited because we thought he was going to go first,
Mm.
you know. So we know he waited. And then um, that was like, and then like eight, I forgot exactly what time in the morning, you know, it
It was
was
there.
over. And I was there. And I think that, the Lord intervened for me to not be there with Mom
Right.
so that I didn't have to
See, two,
both of
go
them at the
be
same,
both of them at the same time, right?
right, exactly.
Man.
And but he allowed me to be there for Daddy because, I'm a daddy's girl.
Yep.
So
Definitely. Definitely.
I think that's why that was. And so that was that. And the thing that really kind of, other than losing them and kind of feeling guilty, because I'm like, they were ready to go, but doggone it, I selfishly wanted them still to be here. But the dates, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Go ahead with that.
March 23rd for Mom, March 25th for Dad. My daughter's birthday is March 25th, 26th, I'm sorry, March 26th. My son's birthday is March 30th. I had their funeral April 2nd. So that was just a weird birthday week for the kids.
Oh, okay. Weird for you too. I mean, I
Yeah,
know you're
weird for
saying
me
this for the kids,
too.
and I do understand. I think they had flown in or something, or something,
Yeah, they
but
came. Unfortunately, it was alumni weekend,
yeah, that's
so that was helpful because people were already there.
mm-hmm.
People didn't have to make an extra trip
Makes an extra trip.
necessarily. Hmm.
You know, somebody texted me just now and was like, "We got to have a part two." Somebody just texted me, was like, "You got to have a part two." There's so much to unpack because even though you're telling the story, there are some people who go through less than what you go through, Chrissa, and they have to go through extensive therapies in order to go through. There's a lot that has happened to you from the beginning,
Hmm.
some in betweens that we still have not talked about.
Hmm.
You know, your mom and dad literally days apart from each other as you were still caregiving.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
do you?
there's a lot. Even from that time till now, there's so much more.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard of a few more things. I mean, still becoming a caregiver to even one part of your family, even one that I know of. What are you doing now? Somebody sat here and heard the whole thing or listened to the whole thing. What are you doing now to maintain? Because there's ups and downs. We already know that. How are you dealing with managing your depression now? What do you do?
If I'm being honest, it's a struggle. It's still a struggle. I mean, there are days when I'm doing well. I'm not on any medication. I'm not in therapy. I probably should get a therapist, but I'm walking
Yes.
a lot and I'm trying to. Well, this is a whole, we don't have a whole nother subject about my gym life here because there are some changes with this age and with these hormones and something that happened here that has caused a disconnect,
Gotcha.
with the actual my gym and my training that I'm trying to reconnect because doggone it, I miss my arms. I miss my arms.
She
I
said, "I
want my
miss my
arms back.
arms. I
I
want my arms
want my
back."
arms
Yeah, I
back.
remember it just looking all cut. It was all cut. It was like, what is she
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Next thing she's
But
gonna be
but
joining WWF. I mean, it was just like cut. All it was like, yo.
but
So real
but
quick. I mean, not rushing you. Just give me a
uh,
little idea. You said you kind of wanted to mesh that back.
yeah, I want to work on and it's ongoing, but I want to get that passion back in my
Yeah, I got
life.
you. I got
You
you.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that was something I was passionate about, and you could tell it's like if you didn't find me at the house, find me at the gym.
Yeah, I get it. And it'll happen again. It'll take us some
Yeah,
time to be able
it'll
to
happen. It'll
wire up,
happen.
and like you said, those it'll come together. Some people ask me, "Oh, how come I'm feeling the way I'm feeling?" And sometimes it's the seasons. The
Hmm.
sun's setting earlier than normal,
Hmm.
than usual. Sometimes can set you back.
Hmm.
So it could be a whole bunch of things. Sometimes it just takes time to make that connection. What I want
Hmm.
to say is, ask you is, are you patient with yourself?
That's something I've had to learn. One of my mantras, especially when I was really working on getting myself together, fitness wise, was be patient with the process, patience with the process, being patient, learning how to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight,
Yeah.
just patient. Then, like, bit by bit, the effects of your exercise, the workout is cumulative. You build upon each thing, you just keep building.
Yeah.
So, and it takes patience. And so I'm still patient, but I don't know if I'm as patient as I was.
I hear,
Because
I
now
hear
half
you.
the time I'm just more frustrated than patient.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I
But
get it. I get it. As we're coming down to an end, just in case there are people who are listening, they may want to call in. And if they do decide to do that, you can. I'm just going through the last couple of minutes that we're here together. Somebody may want to say something. Somebody may want to chat to you. But the number, again, everyone is 301. It's 969 8375. 969 8375. When you're walking, what are you thinking of? Where are you putting yourself?
while when I'm walking, I'm absorbing nature because where I walk is off the beaten path. Sometimes when I don't have much time, especially now that the sun is setting earlier,
Yeah.
I'll walk around the smaller part of the park, but down by Lake Apopka, there's a trail. It's a rocky trail, so I can't walk too fast because
Right.
I'm not trying to twist an ankle.
Yep. Yep.
But I'll see all the birds and the wildlife and the alligators and everything while I'm walking
I'm
down
sorry.
there.
I'm sorry. I just.
Huh?
I'm sorry. The
They're in the
birds.
water.
I
The gators are in the water, except that one time one was sunning himself by the side of the road, and so I said, I'm not going down there today. Um,
Yeah, you said
but
it. As
if
soon
I'm
as you
just,
said
I'm
that, I
just,
was like, okay, the Gators. Okay.
when I'm
Hmm.
just absorbed in nature,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then more often than not, when I'm done with that walk, I'll go and sit and just watch the sunset. I mean, take video. I'll share pictures and videos of all the sunsets I take pictures of, and so that's where my mind is. My mind is in nature and in a state of gratitude.
Okay. Gratitude.
Hmm.
Go with that. No, w-
Gratitude.
teach someone what you do to be grateful. Do you tell yourself something, or what is your mindset towards gratitude?
I'm still here. We're going to Pete's funeral in a couple of weeks. I'm
Yeah.
still here.
Yeah.
We're still here. The last time I saw Pete was at Mark Saunders' funeral. We're still here. Gratitude. Some of us still have our parents, even though they might not be in the best health. Gratitude. Kids doing well. Gratitude. Maybe something happened with their kids, their parents who've lost their kids, but we're still here. We might not, we might have some issues ourselves, might have some health concerns, might have employment concerns, all of the above, but we're still here. What's to not be grateful for?
You know, it's funny. Today is Coop's birthday, and I said I'm gonna just give him a call. I'm like, Coop, how you doing? He's like, man, I'm here, man. Wait, you know, I'm just, I'm like, okay, I got you. And isn't that
Hmm.
true?
Hmm.
No, I'm thank you for that. I'm going to need you to come back on
Of course.
because you know, I'll tell you why. Because even when you just said, and I don't know why they're not putting it in the chat, but they're texting me. Even when you talked about menopause, or hormones, all of that. I mean, you know,
Oh
they're
yeah,
like,
that's a whole nother conversation because you know I'm working through a program for women 40 and over, women's wellness lifestyle. I don't have all the details yet. It's taking me a long time to settle it in my mind, but that's coming. So there's that.
and aren't you
Got to
writing a
help the
book?
sisters out.
And he said, help the sisters.
Well, and the brothers too, because they need help too with
Yeah,
this. There's a lot of understanding.
yeah, I got you.
But the
I got you.
well, yeah, my heart project. Is that what you're talking
Yeah, the
about?
heart
My
project. Yep.
heart project. Yeah, yeah. It's because of my experience with mom and her dementia. I want to. It came to me like, what, a week or so ago to write this with the help of other people who have gone through it, who've been the caregivers of parents or other loved ones, or are currently caregivers to share their stories. You know, it gives everybody a chance to like introduce us to their loved one, tell us who they were before, what changes happened during their dementia, if they've passed away, you know, what lessons they've learned and what advice they can give. Because I didn't have a resource like this. And the amount of people that reached out to me when I was sharing my stories on Facebook, like, you know what? This is something that other people could definitely benefit from.
Yeah.
So that's my heart project, the book I want to do. And, you know, I just hope people, I keep putting it out there and hopefully the word will get out and people will reach out
Yeah.
and, you know, we can get something going.
Where do I expect to see you? I'm not even talking about our part two when it comes to mental health, and I don't want to keep saying depression, because it's not.
Dysthymia.
Yeah, something. Nicole says currently going through that right now. She's currently going through that right
Yes,
now.
Nicole.
Um,
Yes,
you know,
I understand.
it's I don't, you know, I don't. Not that I have. any problems in saying the word depression, saying the word
Hmm.
anxiety, saying the word stress. I don't have any problems with that. I used to, but you know, where would you want to be in the next 30 days or less?
Where would I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
What
Mentally.
here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I say mentally or physically, shoot,
Because
the next 30
physically,
days, I'd like to be on a beach somewhere. But I mean, if I'm being honest,
you said, hey, that's right. Take me to a beach. You got it.
mentally, I would like to have more of a grasp on where I'm going with my program
Yeah. Yeah.
and the things that I'm trying to do for myself. I want to have those more shored up, you know.
I like that.
So,
I like
mhm.
that. And I could see it. I don't know why. This is not going to sound good, but I'm going to say it anyway. I saw you as our Richard Simmons.
Curly hair and all.
Hey, maybe to hear, but I saw you as that. I mean, always on the run. It didn't matter. It was you were always in a gym somewhere. I could remember at Pelk one time. It was like you posted that you was at a gym. It was like, wait, are you at Pelk or are you at the gym? Are you at Pelk or are you at the gym? Is it
Both,
both? That's right.
both.
And both it was that's where it is.
Even traveling, wherever I go, I'll be in the gym.
Yeah. I I think that's where it is. Listening to music, listening to what you want to listen to.
Hmm.
And you know that's what I meant.
Little
Sometimes
gangster rap, throwing them heavy weights around. Shoot,
do whatever you got to
anyway.
do. I mean, I don't live that way anymore. I live through grace,
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
and I'm not watering down our belief system. I
Right.
just know that God wants you to live, Chrissa, not to get to the point of dying and turn around and say, "I wish I had lived." I
Right.
I
Exactly.
don't want to be there. I want you
Right.
to come back because I do think that for a woman and even for me to bring on a professional when it comes to hormones and all of that, one of the things I do recognize is that and I'm telling people this. Sometimes you feel the way Krista was talking about Krista when you were saying, just down, don't want to get up, don't want to. Sometimes they're vitamin D levels. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's thyroid. Sometimes it's gallbladder. Yeah. Sometimes it's so many different things, and we don't know exactly what it is. So see your doctor, see someone, and see where to
Right.
go with that
Right.
because it's not just one thing. But
Right.
I do want us to come back and talk about that because
Sure.
I think
Of course.
that if men can learn a little bit more about why our wives are going through some of the things they're going through instead of just chalking it up to okay she may have some type of mental issue, there's something. Hey,
Mm.
I mean, I don't want to come up missing.
And listen, unfortunately, I've heard some stories where women have actually battled extreme feelings of violence going
Yeah,
through
yeah.
this, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah, I want to keep my neck.
ooh,
I just want to keep it. I want to keep my
I
neck.
know, I
You
know.
know, I took up your night, and I just want to tell you that how much I'm thankful for you jumping on. I know I kept
Well,
hitting
thank
you all
you.
the time. Hey, I need you. I just need you to tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. And we really, somebody's going to say, Pat, part two. I want to hear more about this. I want to hear because you really just touched the surface of each point, and even some in between. I mean, we didn't get to talking about your brother and your
Hmm.
you, the the
Yeah,
help
that was
that
a
you.
whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Yet we're expecting you to be the mother that you're supposed to be. We're expecting you to be the wife that you're supposed to be. All of these things. Yet how do you actually come through that? Thanks for also telling us that it's still a battle. It's still
Still a battle.
you're still managing as you go along. And I
Mhm.
hope I hope you do get it to the beach in the next 30 in the next 30 days or so. Anything that you'd like to leave with your listeners before we go?
Ah, whatever you're going through, just hang in there and just remember gratitude.
Yeah,
You're
man,
here.
that's the key.
Gratitude.
You messed me up on that one. Gratitude, and
It's that
actually,
simple.
you did a pelt move on me when you went through a run. Hey, we're here. Hey, we're here. We're here. It's a big deal.
Look, I won't quit my day job. I'm not going to take up preaching. But although I did have a very good Toastmasters meeting today, I won't take up preaching.
Okay. Listen, just thanks for hanging out with us. I mean,
Yeah,
this can,
anytime.
like we say, we always talked about it. If you get introvert talking, you don't know what's going to happen next. It can go for hours and hours, and then now shut down
Listen,
in a little
because we
room
don't like
somewhere.
small talk. We
Yep.
don't like small talk. But conversations like this,
Wow.
we can go on and on and on and on.
You said it just now. Not small talk, and I'm grateful for
Mhm.
you to jump on here for our managing stress, anxiety, and
And
depression
thanks for having
conversations.
me over here
That's what
on
we
your
needed.
platform.
Thanks, thanks, and you'll be back because someone is going. I'm telling you, just text. I want to talk
Yeah,
about that. I
sure.
want to talk about that.
Anytime,
And
anytime. Listen, my
yeah,
thing is I'm an open book. Just ask whatever and I share. And that's how I try to approach these things.
yeah,
Even when I was sharing about my parents, now I didn't share every nitty-gritty detail,
sure,
but I shared a
sure,
lot with that.
sure,
I've shared about my struggles and
sure.
everything.
Yep.
So
And I
if I
just
can
think,
help somebody, that's what it's all about.
yep. And you said it just now. If you can help somebody, and I think that we have to be more open. You don't have to be super vulnerable, but vulnerable enough for someone else to say, "Hey, if she made it through that, I'm not even going through half of that, and I'm going through A, B, and C." That
Hmm.
there can be a workout session, there could be an eating session, there could be a way, like you said, hey, maybe it's time for me to, get that therapist again, like I had before. There's a whole lot that can be unpacked from that, and just thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
It was fun.
Uh, Listen, thanks again. Thanks again. That was my friend. My friend. Oh, what an awesome job. We're gonna have her back, everyone. I know I've already received the messages that have come in that you wanted to come back and talk about certain things, and that we will do. She's a great person. And you can find her on all social media. Matter of fact, hold on. If you're still there, I'm coming right back to you. I'm coming right back to you. Where can they find you? You don't try to get up real that quick.
Oh,
Where can they find you
jeez.
on social media?
Well, I am on, of course, on Facebook. I'm on Instagram.
Yeah,
I have that chick again. That's my personal
that's
page.
it. That chick
And
again.
I have,
Yep.
and I also have Women's Wellness Lifestyles.
Hmm.
That is, the platform I'm building for my wellness
Yep.
program. And then, well, that's the other one that I'm not going to tell everybody about the other one. Not
That's
that
fine. They
anything's
can come to
wrong
me
with
on
that.
that one. I'll get that one. Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
then and
Beautiful.
then on TikTok, I am Chrissa J or that plus model chick
Plus model check.
on Instagram.
There we go.
That
There we
plus
go.
model chick. So,
I'll go back over it,
mhm.
make sure that I can put it through this, so you all can friend her, follow her. I just got on TikTok myself. I know I'm old, but it's got there myself. Thanks again. Thanks again. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Okay, Chris, I'm going to let you
Well,
go. I
good
mean, I'm
thing.
going to let you go.
All right.
And so here we
All
go,
right.
everybody. You can find her on TikTok. You can find her on social media, and go back. Just watch just the way that she encourages each other as we go through. I'm also asking you to support us, and also because these are my friends that I'm bringing on, not paying them, but I still would like to be able to bring on professionals and give them a little bit something for their time. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm going to ask you all to please subscribe with us, especially on YouTube, and support us. Anyway, we're with you, and God bless you. Real good.
We also want to take a moment to express our gratitude for your support. If you appreciate the content we provide and would like to support us as we continue delivering quality episodes, please consider making a financial contribution to msadtipjar.com. Your support, no matter the size, goes a long way in keeping this program running and accessible to everyone. Thank you for being a part of our community. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of MSAD. We hope you found valuable insights and inspiration to enhance your mental health journey. If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us grow and reach more listeners like you. Again, thank you from the host, Patrick Graham of MSAD, Managing Stress, Anxiety, and Depression. Have a great day, and God bless you real good.